Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's me, Double D. Today I want to go over something that I see asked quite regularly on the GX100 Facebook forum, and it's how to assign things, to the different control switches and how to kind of generally understand assignments. I think it's good to be able to do this on the actual interface of the GX100. So I have it down here in front of me, and I'm going to kind of go through how I set up my patch assignments, or at least give you some ideas on what assignments can do and how they vary from the system, the overall system control versus assignment control. And assignments are kind of patch based. It's how I look at making each patch unique. Maybe if you have a particular song that you want the modulation to be a little bit different on and you don't want to necessarily have to change patch, you can do a couple of different things here within the assignments that are separate from the control function. See here, so here I am in one of my patches, and this one's slightly modified from what's up on the Boss page, whatever it is that you can share all of your patches. I can't share any more patches right now. I'm really bummed until they get an update going on. And I've kind of set the contrast just a little bit. You see it gets real dark when I put my hands in. That's specifically so that I can go here to the control expression screen, and it helps it not get quite so washed out. It's real washed out, but then when I'm here with my hands kind of controlling stuff, you can read these a little bit better. So what we're going to talk about is control functions first, and then we'll bump ourselves over to assigns. And like I said, control, I kind of look at as a system kind of thing that says bank down. So that would be this bank down switch. You see, it's the function of that bank down switch is bank down. And now I can control this column with this knob. This column will be this knob. So right now I'm using the select to kind of manipulate the blue header and work my way through the menu. And as I dial myself all the way down, you might think you're out of options, but you do always have a page. A lot of people forget about this page option. That's for paging through the menu. And that brings us to some more options for some more switches, such as the built-in expression 1 switch, which is right there, and that's if you toe down all the way. And you can calibrate how strong you want that push to be. I have it kind of set up so that it's a little tough by hand, but by foot it's a lot easier than the default. I can show you real quick where to go do that. So if I exit out of here and I go over here to my menu, and then we come over here to hardware settings, if you start to run the pedal calibration, your very last option is going to be how sensitive that switch is going to be. And I brought it down some. I'm not going to calibrate the pedal right now, but that's a little tip for anybody that's looking to make switching between volume and wah a little bit easier. And so if we go back over here to the control functions within the control expression page, you can see that when I hit that expression 1 switch and then that lights up purple, it then becomes the wah. And I have it to toggle between them. And it's currently set up per memory in case I want to change that, but for right now, this is the one that I have that's set up for system, and I've changed it a little bit. When I hit my control 2 button, I have it going from manual mode to if I do a quick press, and then if I hold it down for 2 seconds, it goes to the tuner. It's defaulted the other way, tuner manual, and I kept just touching that button and it would kill my signal because the tuner mutes your signal. So I changed it over to that. I figured at least that way, if I hit the button and went to manual mode, I could just hit it again for a second and get out of manual mode. I tend not to use manual mode, but we'll cover how to assign those manual buttons too, because it can be very handy. I've gotten to the point where I only have a couple of patches that I really use, and I have a couple of really helpful assigns within those patches. So let's go over some of the other options that you can kind of get into here just within the control function. You can set up control 3 and control 4 which is right here. So that could be how you would default. See, I have this FS7 plugged into control 3 and 4 in the back of the GX. And that would be how I could assign, let's say, bank up or down to this. And if I always wanted it to do that, then I would come down here and make that system. So I'm going to make it memory, but I'm going to turn the default function to off because I assign it to different things based on the patch. You could have it be the beats per minute, which is really handy if that's what you wanted to be able to come over here and tap in every patch's tempo, no matter what. That would be where you would do that. Okay, and it would always, every patch that you bring it up to, that would be that. And this can get a little confusing when then you get into assignments, because you may end up trying to also make this do something and you end up changing that tap tempo. So you might not want to do that unless that's exactly all you're going to do, and dedicate that button to tap tempo or whatever it is, amp control, that kind of a thing. Amp control out would be sending a switch to an amplifier to change its channel or change the reverb, something like that. Or like an Angry Driver pedal by Boss, you could turn it from one mode to the other by using amp control. It's just a switch out function, if you think about it. This one is a switch input that then is translating it into a function. So I'm going to amend what I said just a little bit about this control page, because I actually saved myself some assignments by doing this loop maneuver here on the control page for this patch. Yeah, so I have this set up to be memory, and control 1 in this instance is now going to be loop control, okay? And then 3 is going to be loop clear, and that's for this particular memory. And then 4. So I have this set up within the control function section, okay? Instead of the assignments. Instead of going into the assignment menu, I went to the control function menu, and this is where I can kind of save myself some assignments. Mess around with the page. Remember that that section is going to become a default. So whatever you do, kind of take note of it, because if you make some changes and then all of a sudden it's acting funny and you can't remember what you did, that can kind of get you in a little bit of a hole. So that's why I tend to leave this pretty basic. I just have that set up so that this is always going to do that. So let's look at one of the benefits of an assign. Okay, so here I'm in my patch, and as I scroll through it, you can see I have a divider, and I have 2 amplifiers, and I have a noise suppressor after it, and a delay, and I have the option to turn on a reverb shimmer. So that I've made within this patch. When I hit C1, control 1, it brings up the reverb shimmer. Okay, that's particular to this patch. Same thing over here. I have this button right here of my FS7 dedicated to turning on that Klon Centaur, okay? And now I have my current number, which is the patch number, my current button set up to do a bunch of things. So when I hit it, it turns red to let me know I've now put this switch into its secondary state. And you can see I instantly lit up the compressor and the phaser. And then if I scroll through, the menu, the effects a little bit more, you can also see that when I hit this button, I'm activating the solo switch for both amplifiers. Solo switch is on, and now it's off when I'm in the blue state. And it would do the same thing for that. And as well, I have the delay effect level set so that when I hit this one button, it also brings that effect level up to 40. When I turn it back to the blue state, it's going to 7. Now, that's a couple of real tricky but beneficial moves. Let's back up just a little bit and look at how I just kind of set up one button push to do one thing before we actually kind of dig in and see how to do multiple moves there. Okay, so if I get in real close to this guy and we look at our control expression settings and our assign settings, okay, the first thing to know is this is how we're going to go. If we go clockwise by turning our select knob, this is going to be how we go down the list, and then counterclockwise is going to bring us up. If you push the select button, you are entering, you are hitting enter. It's the same as the enter key, okay? But what it does in this case, it activates or deactivates this assignment. This is the number assignment that I have. And now that I've turned it green, it will be active. When I turn it off, if I hit it one more time and it goes to black instead of green, this assignment is not active, okay? So that's the first thing you want to do is when you go to your assignment is make sure that the one you want to work on is green. You see down here at the bottom of my list, I have a couple that are not active. And anything that hasn't really been programmed is just going to default to that, okay? So let's go back up to the top and we can look at what I have. CC number 1 is my wireless expression pedal, and that's acting as the solo level. So if I assign an expression pedal to the solo level, even the internal one of the things that it does is it defaults the minimum to 0 and the maximum to 100. You're probably not going to want your solo level to be 100. So how did I get to that page? I just paged over from here. I went right one time. Okay, and now these knobs control these columns, just like in the other, all of the other menus. These are going to correlate with that column. And so I can bring that. I know when I was playing live the other day that it felt good to get to around that range. And then that way when I have my toe down all the way on that expression pedal, it's at the maximum that I'm allowing it to go to. Okay? And when I back it off, the solo switch will still be on, but the level of that solo switch will be 0. Okay? So if I turn the select knob clockwise one time, you'll see that the next one that I have assigned is the current number, which is this current number. This is my patch, number 1. If I save this patch to number 2, it will make number 2 act just the same way. That's why current number is really beneficial when you're creating patches and you want some universalness going on and you're going to be saving them to different patch locations. This will mean that no matter where you've located that patch in one of these 4 patch spots within your bank, that current number will act that way. So if I've saved it to patch 3, current number means button 3 when I'm on patch 3. I'm on patch 1, current number means button 1 or switch 1, however you want to look at it. If I hit enter, it deactivates that particular setting. So like I said, I have this set up for the current number to turn on the solo switch. So you've got your source, you've got your mode. When I touch it, I want it to stay on, and then I can have my foot away from the pedal and then touch the pedal again, and it will turn that effect off. So that's toggle. If you look up at the moment, that's for an expression pedal. You're going to want to keep that in momentary just so that it acts at the proper CC number at whatever position it's in. When you send it a new one, by moving that treadle, it sends a new one. So you want, I set all my expression pedals to momentary, and I generally set switches that I want to just do one thing, let go of the switch and it stays on. You set that to toggle. You know what I mean? I'm probably being completely redundant. Okay, so this here, number 3, that's going to be what these buttons, number 1, 2, 3, or 4, do when I'm in manual mode, when I hit C2. So this C2 button, remember, like I said, it will put me in manual mode. If I hit that, now I'm looking at my pedal board more or less. I'm looking at the effects that have been assigned to these buttons on this patch. So when I'm just in my normal mode here, this is the patch and then current number. Okay. Now when I'm here in C2, I lose that current number functionality. That now these are buttons. If I hit 1, it's only going to be affecting what I have set to manual mode button switch 1. Okay. So that's something you have to keep in mind with current number. Let's get a little bit closer and look at this a little bit closer. So here at manual 1 now, that's the source, manual 1. That means when I'm in manual mode, button 1, okay, is I have that set to be the compressor, on or off. The overdrive, button 2, in manual mode is going to turn on and off my overdrive. I have CC number 4 coming in from the EV wireless extra switches to toggle on and off the phaser. Now I also have it set up so that the current number toggles on and off the phaser. Because let's say maybe within that solo, as soon as I hit the current number, I want phaser, I want all of the things that happen, but then I want to be able to turn my phaser off at some point. I can use that button to turn off the phaser, but then not affect anything else through the current number button. So let's say I start off my lead with a phaser, and I know that at some point I want everything else to stay the same, but I want to turn that phaser off. I have that assigned there, but I also have it set to the current number so that when I do my current number action, it turns that phaser on. So as you can see there, there's a repeat of what we saw earlier, preamp 1's solo switch, okay? And then control 1, I have set up to do shimmer reverb. So when I turn that on, control 1 on this patch is going to turn my shimmer reverb on and off, okay? Get back in a little closer. Clockwise a little bit more. You can see my manual 3 has the phaser option. Manual 4 has my delay option. So when I'm in my basic patch and I kick over to manual mode, I can kind of control things a little bit more so on the individual level, or I can just go boom, when I'm here at my basic patch. And I tend to like that because I can create a sound and then alter it with one button push. And it almost always in my head, that's going to be my lead version of that sound. So that's how I kind of approach current number and how I look at its meaning. And then if you want to get in here individually, I can use the other assignments that I've created to then turn those on and off, and then that will stay in that state when I go back and forth. You see, even though my current number is active, I've now turned off the phaser here, I've turned off the overdrive, and I've done that. That's going to leave, what did I have set up? I had my solo boost still on, so that's going to leave me a little bit louder, and I have my delay level louder. How did I do the delay level? Let's look at that real quick. I'm going to kick out of manual mode, hit over here to control expression, go to my assign settings. If we keep on scrolling down here, you saw there I have current number turning on my compression, and then current number, my assignment number 12, delay plus, effect level. So as opposed to all of these other ones, the parameter is on or off. You see, or it's turning my solo switch off when it's off, on when it's on. See that? Here I'm going to go down here to my delay plus, current number, delay plus, effect level. Okay, so instead of it being in this on or off default, I go over here. So you could do this with the direct level, the type of delay, the mod depth, sensitivity. I have it set up to be my effect level. Now that I've changed it, that's gonna you'll see a perfect example of it. I had it set up like 0 to 41 or 7 to 41, something like that. Now, once you go and change this parameter, or really anything, if I take the delay out of the chain and add a new one, it's gonna end up defaulting back to the 0 and 120 thing, man, and that can just be out of control. You probably don't want that much right off the bat. So this is how you can fine tune that a little bit. I'm going to put that at 42 and we'll put this at 7. I think that was around where it was. Either way, the other thing I could do, if I start making all these changes and I don't like anything I've done, I haven't hit save yet, I can just go to another patch. And it's going to just erase all of the assignment moves that I just did or anything that I may have messed up. That's why maybe what you want to do is take your patch, once you kind of get your base patch down that you want to have some of this tweaking going on, you might want to write it somewhere else. So you hit the right button and then come over here and hit write. And then you can pick where you want to put it. What I really like is that it shows you if you have named it something already. You know what I mean? So I would keep my template and then have another one to sit there and tweak. Remember, when you kick over to manual mode, it takes away a lot of the control that we are creating within the control and assign sections of that menu. So that's something to keep in mind. When you're in manual mode, that's what you're going to see. A lot of people will end up pushing the page button and then not realize that they'll think they're in manual mode. And when they come out of manual mode, they actually are back over at the page view of manual mode. Hit the page left button and you'll get back to your name again. And you can see even more options here if you keep paging to the right and to the left. And so some of the other options you get within your assignments are really interesting. So like, let me just go down to one that I don't have anything assigned to. You get 20 assignments, right? So that's great. My ES8 only has like, I think 12, something like that. So you can see I'm scrolling. As I scroll, the cursor here is showing me what I'm selecting here in the category. So that's my effect block, and it's showing me what I have. So, and as you scroll over, you can also scroll over to your master point. And there's a lot of things that you can do within your master section. Okay, I probably wouldn't do BPM to the current number, but like I said, there's all the things that you find within your master section, and that's going to be kind of how you have your patch saved. It's going to have memory level, and you can do the same things when you get here to your page. You can make your memory level now all of a sudden bump up to 200, or make it just bump up to, let's say you want to do this. You want your normal memory level. You don't want to use a boost. You don't want to use any sort of booster pedal, or you don't want to use the amp boost, or for whatever reason. You just want to take that particular patch and make it 20 louder, right? So there, now I've taken the master section memory level and I've adjusted it so that instead of being 0 as the default minimum, the default is now 100, which is my normal, and then the max when I hit whatever this button, I'm going to make it be Control 1. So now in order to make that active, I need to hit that select button. Hit enter, hit push it, and it hits enter for you, okay? So I'm going to leave that unentered because I don't want that particular change to happen. But that's how you can see what the options are. So as you saw, I brought up the wireless expression pedal, and I have, like I said, both amp solo levels set to be controlled by that. I have it defaulted to go up to about 56, but if you notice when I go over, let's see, when I go to the patch, it actually only defaults to 36. That's because I used these knobs to control where I want that to default. And then that way, if I say maybe, oh, I've noticed tonight I need to be just a little bit louder, I need to be right there, and that's the sweet spot that I find on my wireless, I can then come over here and adjust it to that and then hit save, and it's going to just make me have a visual representation maybe of how much boost I'm adding, and have if I know that I need to be a little bit quieter on certain parts, I know I can then just reach over to my volume pedal, bring it down, and not be too present. Like if there's a vocal part going on, and then as I want to bring it up a little bit more as that vocal part goes out, I can bring it up some. If I need just a little bit more, let's say the other guitarist or the keyboard patch is really loud on that particular song, I can go just a little bit higher than I have it set as the default to that particular patch. That alone is just done through assignments and done through getting familiar with what you want to achieve with that particular assignment, what you want to do within that patch. So I might not always set that wireless control to do that. I could set it to control the shimmer level if I wanted, and then as I backed it down, there'd be no shimmer. As I brought it up a little bit more, there would be more as I toe down, And then when I turn the shimmer off, that expression pedal will have no effect on anything within the sound. So that's using assignments in conjunction with other assignments in an effective way to kind of try to get the patch where you want it to go. I really try to be helpful in the comments. I try to answer all the questions, especially the technical stuff. But it's not always the easiest to troubleshoot on YouTube, so I recommend going to Facebook if you're dropping pics and turning off the noises here. I recommend if you really want to troubleshoot your GX, get on the Facebook group. It's just a little more helpful than what I could probably offer in the comments below. I'll put a link to how to control your amplifier right here over my microphone. If this has been helpful for you, maybe you'll want to turn on the delay or make the delay a little bit louder at the same time as changing the channel on your amplifier. Use what you just learned in this video in conjunction with that video. Thank you very much. Take care, and I'll see you on the next video.